guys, can I play?
Get out of here, Bennett!
Yeah, Bennett, get lost!
Get out of here, Bennett! Get lost!
John is a boy who often feels lonely because he doesn't have many friends. As Christmas approaches, his parents surprise him with a special gift, a teddy bear named Ted. John instantly adores Ted. He makes a heartfelt wish for Ted to become a real friend and stay by his side forever. Coincidentally, as he makes this wish, a shooting star streaks across the night sky. And just like that, the teddy bear magically comes to life, making John's wish a reality. The next morning,
Help me!
John discovers the living Ted and is utterly amazed. He's also overjoyed to finally have a friend to play with. John's parents, however, are initially quite startled, thinking they're seeing something otherworldly. But once John and Ted explain the situation, they slowly come to believe it. John, who used to be scared of thunderstorms, now faces them with ease, knowing Ted is right there beside him every night. Several years pass, and John is now 35. He's found a girlfriend named Lori, and the three of them share an apartment in Boston. However, whenever John and Lori try to have some private time, Ted's constant interruptions become a source of frustration for Lori. On their 4-year anniversary, Lori reaches her breaking point. She tells John that he needs to stop spending so much time with Ted and focus on their future together. But John hesitates. He explains that Ted has been his steadfast companion since he was 8 years old, a time when he felt incredibly lonely and had no other friends. He can't just push Ted away. Later, when they arrive home, they discover Ted with some ladies of the night.
There is a shit on my floor!
One of the women is clearly inebriated and makes a mess, which truly disappoints John. He tells Ted to leave. John then helps Ted find a job at a grocery store, encouraging him to be self-sufficient. At the store, Ted meets a coworker named Tammy, and they quickly fall in love. Fulfilling Lori's request, John arranges for Ted to have his own apartment, and Ted moves out the very next night. Despite the new living arrangements, the bond between the two best friends remains strong. While out and about, they encounter a rather peculiar father and son duo. The father, Donnie, reveals himself to be a huge fan of Ted and even asks John to sell Ted to him as a toy for his son, Robert. John refuses, explaining that Ted is his friend, not a toy. John, however, still struggles to break his old habits of spending excessive time with Ted. He even uses Lori as an excuse to skip work. When Lori finds out, she's furious. She tells him she wants a strong partner, not a teddy bear and a little boy. But she gives John one last chance. That same evening, Lori takes John to a party hosted by Rex, her manager who has an unrequited interest in her. Rex, unwilling to give up, pulls John aside and boasts about his wealth, implying that Lori deserves someone like him, trying to undermine John. Just then, Ted calls, inviting John to a party at his apartment, excitedly mentioning that their favorite celebrity, Sam Jones, is there. John, trying to keep it a secret from Lori, sneaks off to meet his idol. But Lori finds out and becomes even angrier. This time, she's had enough. She tells John she can't forgive him and that their relationship can't continue, ending things and walking away. Finally, John makes a difficult but firm decision. He decides to completely let go of Ted as a friend and tells him to leave his life. But Ted doesn't give up. He follows John to his hotel.
You're acting like a cock, you know that? That's your choice, John. And you know, by blaming me, you're just making yourself look like a pussy.
And says some very strong words to provoke John. They get into a physical altercation, and Ted hits John's butt. Then, Ted apologizes, and they reconcile. Ted then personally goes to Lori and explains that he will permanently leave John's life. He asks Lori to give John one last chance and to get back together. Lori agrees. While John and Lori are back together, Ted, who was left in Lori's room, is kidnapped by the peculiar father and son, Donnie and Robert. They take Ted to their home, which is filled with pictures of him. Donnie proudly declares that he's wanted Ted since he saw him as a celebrity on television when he was a child, but his father never bought him one. Now, as a father himself, he makes sure his son gets everything he wants. Robert, the son, tears off one of Ted's ears, trying to force him to be his friend. With no other choice, Ted plays along. He cleverly suggests they play hide and seek. While pretending to look for a hiding spot, Ted uses a sewing machine to repair his torn ear. He quickly calls John, telling him he's been taken by the crazy father and son and needs help. Just as he's talking, Donnie notices him. John quickly calls the police and then follows Donnie and Robert, who are attempting to escape with Ted in their car. Ted manages to smash the back window of Donnie's car and jump onto John's windshield. However, Donnie suddenly slams on the brakes, causing John's car to rear-end Donnie's. Ted is thrown back into Donnie's car through the broken rear window. Ted and Donnie fight, and their car collides with a parked truck, becoming inoperable. Ted quickly jumps out and tries to escape from the father and son. Donnie and Robert pursue him, and Ted attempts to climb a light tower at a sports stadium. But Donnie follows him up, trying to grab him. In the struggle, Ted's body is torn apart, and his stuffings, along with his broken body parts, fall to the ground. John gathers the stuffings, preparing to try and save him, But Ted, understanding that his time is up, tells him to stop. He makes John promise to not lose Lori again and to cherish and stay with her. Then, the life force leaves his broken body, and he reverts to his original teddy bear form. John and Lori refuse to give up. They rush home, putting all the stuffings back into Ted's body and sewing him up, hoping to bring him back to life. But nothing happens. Ted has truly left them. John is overcome with indescribable sadness, having lost his best friend, and eventually falls asleep. But that same night, Lori is still awake. She looks up at the sky and suddenly sees a shooting star. She makes a wish for Ted to come back to life. Her wish is granted. The next morning, Ted is alive again. John is incredibly happy and proposes to Lori, who happily accepts. Soon after, they get married in a church, and the story concludes.